Okay, this is a recording about Terra sigillata. Here, there's recorded for Suwannee Napong, Don Quy in Thailand. And we are going to discuss what it takes to make it. What it is. And I got to turn off my phone. There we go. Restart. There we go. Okay. So I don't know how to spell it. She might. I think there's just one L. Okay, Terra sigillata. And maybe I should change this font size so we can read it easier. A little bigger. Okay, great. Terra sigillata. Great. Spelling. Terra sigillata is a fine clay slip. Okay, so there's a lot of things meant by this, but the first one is that it really is only clay or very fine particles. And the second one is that in terms of clay, we are only talking about clay that is kaolitic, based on kaolin. Kaolin particles. Okay, but this can be confusing. It includes, at least in the US, fire clays, ball clays, most clays, but it does not include bentonitic silts like Don Quy clay. Don Quy clay. Okay, what is a silt? Silt is just fine particles washed into a lake or river or ocean that are mixed together. But in Don Quy, the working clay seems to be bentonite. And best I can tell, you can't make sigillata out of it. I could be wrong. Simply, you have to get rid of all the coarse particles.
Get rid. You have to get rid.
Thank you. Oops, 2. Okay, and the easiest way to do this is to mix up a thin slip and let it settle. The coarsest particles settle first. And the finer ones later. Usually, the clay particles are the finest. Okay. So, but not always. The more clay you get, the better. You can do this without any chemicals, just clay and water, if you have good clay for it. The stoneware at school makes a sigillata without any deflocculants. Ball clays do it. Kaolins don't. And things that, do you know what a hammer mill is? Things that have been ground up don't. Clays that have been milled, hammer or ball, do not work as easily. problem is that they have fine non-clay particles. And the more of those you have, the less a sheen you get. The sheen comes because the flat clay particles line up flat. They line up like this, like cards spread out on a table.
Okay.
And the more non-clay you have in there, the less they want to lay flat.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, they stop shining.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have ground non-clay particles, or difficult clays, you need a deflocculant. Do you know what that is?
No.
A flock is a gathering.
Still not know.
I'm going to keep talking about it. A flock
Mhm.
is a gathering. A group of sheep is called a flock of sheep. A group all together.
Mhm.
Clay that comes together
Mhm.
in a slip is a flock.
Okay.
Things they stick together. The edges stick to the faces, or the faces stick together.
Whatever.
That's a flock.
Okay.
Okay? A deflocculant makes that not happen.
Mhm.
It deflocculates the slip so they stay with water in between them and keep sliding. So with slip casting, it takes the pieces of clay and pushes them apart so that they act like a liquid
Mhm.
with less
this
water.
one, they get together.
Without the deflocculant, with that amount of water, they'll stick together.
Mhm.
So if you take clay that you can wedge, and it's kaolytic, and you add a deflocculant to it, it'll become a liquid.
I don't
Sometimes. You got clay, me din tini.
know.
Nuot. That side deflocculant, nuot neat noi, lao jalalai nam, ben nam. Because the clay no longer sticks,
Mhm.
it pushes apart a little bit.
Mhm.
And so it can slide this way, and it acts like a liquid. All the little pieces of clay are no longer stuck together.
ไม่ understand เลย
Look, clay, it's like this.
ใช่
And they stick because of electric forces.
because itself
Yeah.
by the nature by itself
Yes,
that is good one.
that's clay. But when you add deflocculant, it doesn't stick anymore.
Uh-huh.
So it slides.
Oh yes, so that is a
So if
good
you-
or bad TSig.
So we're not talking about TSig, we're talking about deflocculants.
Yeah, the flocculant.
You add a deflocculant to it, it'll slip. But what it also does is it keeps those particles from joining into flocks. And because the flocks are bigger,
Mhm.
they settle first.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
But you want the clay to stay afloat.
Uh-huh.
So you add a deflocculant.
ดีฟล็อกก็คือทำให้แตกตัว
to keep the flocks from forming so they do not settle out because flocks are bigger. Flocks are bigger. Finer particles stay afloat better.
Mm.
If you mix clay in with water and you mix sand in, the sand drops. If the clay comes together, the clay drops.
And
That's
then
what the
finer.
That's what the deflocculant does.
But the finer still stick together too.
The
because-
finer will stick together till you add a deflocculant,
Yes.
and then they'll separate and be fine.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
เข้าใจ
If you mix clay up and it's all separated, it'll stay floating in water for a while. But you take a lump of clay and you drop it in, right to the bottom.
Mm.
It's a flock. It's a big flock.
Mm. So what is that you need is to separate it, to make it flow.
To
by
make it
itself.
stay afloat.
Okay.
They're so fine they'll stay afloat. Some of them forever,
Yeah.
never settle.
Okay.
It's like a big ball of clay. It sinks fast.
Mhm.
Okay?
อันนี้สแตนดาร์ด
Okay. Common deflocculants in use. 1. Soda ash.
อืม
Sodium carbonate. Not bicarbonate. You can buy bicarbonate in the supermarket for baking. It's not that.
อืม
It's sodium carbonate. Okay, 2. Sodium silicate.
อืม
Also called water glass.
ทำไมเป็น water glass ล่ะตามไม่
เป็นแก้วละลายที่ละลายในน้ำได้ When you let it harden, it's a glass. It's hard to dissolve again.
โซเดียมคาร์บอเนตหรือโซเดียมไบคาร์บอเนตเป็นคล้ายๆกับน้ำยาที่หาได้ในตลาดเป็นอะไรนะ
Yeah, sodium bicarbonate.
เป็น
ที่
น้ำ
ตลาด
ยาอะไรที่ตลาดเป็น
You use it in baking.
อ๋อโอเค
Sometimes you use it for.
โอเค
Sometimes you mix a little in when you make water for up your nose. Okay. And the third one, sodium polyacrylate. Darvan. Those are the common ones.
What is sodium polycarbonate?
It's a deflocculant we use in ceramics. The name brand is Darvan. It'll be harder to get. I'm just listing them all so you know them.
Okay.
Another one you might find is sodium hexametaphosphate.
Nam น้ำยาปรับผ้านุ่ม
Sometimes.
Okay.
They don't sell it here for that anymore.
น้ำยาปรับผ้านุ่ม in Thailand they use all the time.
Basic, yeah, if it's the same one. I put this down so that you could find out if it's the same. Sometimes they sell soda ash for the same purpose. Okay, basic recipe. Clay, 1 pound, 454 grams. Water, 1 quart. Deflocculant, 1 tablespoon.
This is difficult for me with this 1 pound 1 quart.
I know I put this 454 grams. We can convert it later.
Yes.
Okay, but this is what I keep up here in my head,
Okay.
because for me, I can go in the kitchen and just make this, and I can also make it like this. I don't need anything to even measure, and I can get close enough. This is basic. It's not going to work perfect every time,
Okay. I will ask you later. Just listen to.
but maybe with ball clay, you can just take a pound in 2 quarts, 2 liters. Okay, half a kilo in 2 liters, and use that. Two liters of water. Yeah,
Is your
yeah. And so what you do is you mix it up. Mix it again. Let it sit overnight. Mix it again really well so that all the particles can break up, and let it settle. This is the hard part. The first part is just the biggest stuff on the bottom. Use it for something else. It's hard to figure out where that difference is, the stuff on the bottom, and you can't mix it. You can carefully pour off the water at the top, and then pour off the TSig, and then pour off the bottom, but you're going to have to let it settle again because some of the bottom's going to get in. You might have to do that 3 times to get what you need. Save. Get rid of clearish water. Save the middle. Do it again. Maybe again. With good clay, this will be sigillata. You have to dry it. No aluminum pots.
Okay.
Aluminum is a flocculant, and it will make them go together and settle out, and they won't shine because you need the flocculant. A flocculant makes the edge stick to the face like this, and you need them like this.
Okay.
So you have to keep aluminum pots out of there. And stainless works. Stainless, glass. Okay? The idea that you're going to get it the first time or that it's going to be easy, forget it. That's the road to disappointment. But you should try the ball clay that you have. You should try the kaolin that you have. Try ball clay. Try kaolin. Use at least 250 grams clay.
Luis, I know I keep asking again and again. I keep forget about what's different ball clay, kaolin, and then green clay.
Okay, we'll get there. Let me finish this. 1 liter Liter. Does liter have one T or two T? No, that's liter. This is liter. Okay. Okay. You can also try other clays.
Mm.
Just not. I'd stay away from the red clays in Isan.
Mhm.
Because I think they're all bentonitic, but I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I think the clays, from down the Mekong,
Mhm.
the stoneware clays that they use for mortars,
Mhm.
I think those are all okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I think Rotbury clay is okay,
Mhm. But not Dunquin clay.
not Donquin clay.
True plastic.
No, bentonite.
Mhm.
Bentonite is not a flat particle.
Mhm.
It works different. I don't know how.
Mhm.
Okay, so you asked, okay, so let me just stop this. We can start again.